Aloha, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're going to give it a couple more minutes to allow other people to trickle in. Thanks for your patience. Okay, let's get started. Aloha and mahalo, everyone, for joining. My name is David Sakota. I'm the Fisheries Program Manager for the State of Hawaii Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources. I will be conducting tonight's virtual public hearing, joined by other DAR staff providing IT support. It is now 5:35 p.m. and this public hearing is called to order. This is a virtual public hearing on proposed rulemaking for the area currently designated as the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve in the Kūki and Kaʻūpūlehu Ahupua'a on the island of Hawaiʻi. The proposed rulemaking action includes a new chapter, Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 13-60.12, entitled Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area Hawaii, referred to as the Kaʻūpūlehu FMA, and amendments to Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 13-60.4, West Hawaii Regional Fishery Management Area, Hawaii. The primary purpose for establishing the Kaʻūpūlehu Fishery Management Area from the shoreline to the 20-fathom depth contour, or 120 feet, is to create, restore, perpetuate, maintain, share, and protect culturally and ecologically important resources, and ensure a socially and ecologically sustainable subsistence fishery at Kaʻūpūlehu and Kūki that aligns with traditional resource management practices. The primary purpose for the proposed amendments to the West Hawaii Regional Fishery Management Area is to replace the rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve and reestablish the Kaʻūpūlehu Fish Replenishment Area, ensuring that the entire area from the shoreline to the 100-fathom depth contour remains closed to aquarium collection. The proposed Kaʻūpūlehu FMA extends from Kikaua Point in the south to Kalaimano in the north, from the shoreline out to the 20-fathom or 120-foot depth contour, and includes two subzones, the Kaimalu Management Area and the Waiakane Cultural Site and Freshwater Spring. The entire area is also divided into two sets of Opihi Rest Area rotational zones A and B, each consisting of two separate areas, zones A1, A2, B1, and B2. So as required by law, the proposed rules have been drafted in Ramsar format, copies of which can be found on the Draft Rules and Public Notices section of the DAR website. Further instructions on how to view the draft rules can be found in the official public notice published in the Honolulu Star Advertiser and the West Hawaiʻi Today. This public hearing is being simultaneously live streamed to the DAR YouTube channel for anyone wishing to observe the public hearing but not provide testimony. For your convenience, the address to the DAR YouTube channel is at the bottom of this slide, and a link to the live stream has also been pasted into the chat. The live stream will be recorded and preserved on YouTube as a matter of public record. Please be aware that by attending this public hearing today, you are consenting to being audio and video recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded but still wish to provide testimony, the public hearing notice provides instructions on how to submit written testimony for consideration by the department. The purpose of this hearing is to provide the public the opportunity to provide comments in the form of oral testimony on the proposed rules and amendments pursuant to Hawaii Revised Statute Section 91-3, subsection A2. Approval to conduct this public hearing was obtained from the Board of Land and Natural Resources at their board meeting on February 27th, 2026. The legal notice of this public hearing was published in the March 7th, 2026 Saturday issue of the West Hawaiʻi Today and the March 8th, 2026 Sunday issue of the Honolulu Star Advertiser. Additionally, notice of this public hearing was posted on the Draft Rules and Public Notices page of the DAR website, where digital copies of the draft rules in Ramsar format can be found, as well as posted on the announcements page of the DAR website. We will begin by watching a pre-recorded slideshow explaining the proposed changes to the administrative rules. We will then transition to the public testimony portion of the public hearing. Everyone wishing to provide testimony today was required to pre-register using the registration link in the public hearing notice and also shown on this slide. If you did register using the link, you should have received a personalized link to join the Zoom public hearing room. If you did not receive a link or are having trouble joining, please email dar.rulemaking@hawaii.gov. We will keep registration open and will monitor our email throughout the public hearing. However, if you are unable to join via Zoom, you may still provide oral testimony tomorrow at the in-person hearing, or you may submit written testimony by following the directions on this slide. Details for the in-person public hearing can be found on the public hearing notice and on the DAR website. Each person providing testimony will be given 3 minutes. To be fair to all testifiers, I will kindly ask you to conclude your testimony if you go beyond 3 minutes. If we have additional time after everyone has had a chance to provide their testimony, I will then call on those wishing to provide additional testimony. All testimony should be directed to me, not the audience. Let's begin with a short slideshow describing the administrative rulemaking proposal.
Aloha and welcome to the public hearings for the proposed rulemaking action to establish the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area and to revert the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve back to the Kaʻūpūlehu Fish Replenishment Area. We will begin this presentation by orientating ourselves with the geographical area covered by the rules and reviewing the regulatory background that has led us to today. This rulemaking proposal falls within the same geographical footprint as the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve, currently in place. Here is a map of the Ahupua'a and coastal Wahipana of North Kona. The area covered under this rulemaking proposal begins in the northern section of the Ahupua'a of Kūki at Kikaua Point to the northern end of the Ahupua'a of Kaʻūpūlehu at Kalaimano. In 2016, in response to decades of observed decline in their marine resources traditionally relied upon to feed their families, a community-led proposal was implemented in the form of the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve to give the shoreline a 10-year rest from all fishing pressure from the shoreline to the 20-fathom depth contour, and from some fishing pressure from the 20-fathom depth contour out to the 100-fathom depth contour, where fishing using hook and line was allowed for some deep water or pelagic species and introduced species. In addition to giving the resources a chance to recover, the 10-year closure allowed time for the development of a comprehensive management plan to allow for sustainable harvest when the coastline reopens. This initiative was called Charwait. Hui Kahuvai, a community nonprofit organization whose roots stem from the court-mandated Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Life Advisory Committee, took the lead on putting together a draft management plan as the community stewards of the area. This slide highlights some of the work that Hui Kahuvai has accomplished over the course of Charwait. Hui Kahuvai has hosted over 65 educational huaka'i reaching over 1,762 keiki, and hosted 223 outreach events reaching an estimated 6,027 people. Over social media, Hui Kahuvai has been able to reach over 617,275 people. Hui Kahuvai has participated in 5 Makai Watch trainings, hosted 6 invasive fish removal events, conducted 91 community monitoring surveys in addition to partner-led dive monitoring, and presented at 9 conferences. Since 2022, Hui Kahuvai and the Division of Aquatic Resources have gone through multiple revisions of the draft Fisheries Management Plan based on feedback received from continuous outreach and public scoping with lineal descendants, fishers, residents, commercial operators, agencies, and the general public, resulting in the most current version of the Fisheries Management Plan and this corresponding rulemaking proposal to implement the plan. Subsequently, the rules have been approved by the board for public hearings, leading us to provide today's virtual public hearing and tomorrow's in-person public hearing to be held at the Kealakaʻi High School cafeteria. Next, I will provide a comprehensive overview of the proposed rulemaking action. The proposed amendments to the West Hawaiʻi Fishery Management Area would repeal the rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve and reestablish the Kaʻūpūlehu Fish Replenishment Area that was in place before the area was closed to fishing in 2016. Additionally, this proposal would make other housekeeping amendments throughout the chapter. The map shown on this slide illustrates how the fish replenishment area prohibiting aquarium collection from the shoreline to the 100-fathom depth contour will overlay with the proposed rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area from the shoreline to the 20-fathom depth contour that I will go over in the following slides. To be clear, these rules are separate and apart from the aquarium fishery management rulemaking proposal that is moving forward in tandem with this rulemaking proposal. And aside from reestablishing the Kaʻūpūlehu Fish Replenishment Area, these rules do not make any amendments related to aquarium fishery management. In addition to the proposed amendments to the West Hawaiʻi Regional Fishery Management Area, Hawaii Administrative Rules Chapter 13-60.4, the proposed rulemaking action also includes establishing rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area, or FMA, as a new chapter, Hawaii Administrative Rules Chapter 13-60.12. The proposed Kaʻūpūlehu FMA extends from Kikaua Point in the south to Kalaimano in the north, from the shoreline out to the 20-fathom depth contour. The rules include boundaries for each subzone or area within the FMA, key restrictions for the Kaimalu Management Area, entry restrictions for the Waiakane Cultural Site and Freshwater Spring, rotational closures and slot limits for the Opihi Rest Area rotational zones, rules establishing a fishing permit requirement for fishing on or near the shore, general gear restrictions for the entire FMA, a list of priority species selected for their cultural and/or ecological importance, bag limits and size limits for various species, a management framework for enhanced Opihi management, a prohibition on anchoring, and an exemption allowing active transit through the FMA while in possession of restricted gear or species. The map on this slide shows the boundaries for the FMA and its subzones and associated reference points, with the call-out boxes zooming into the Kaʻūpūlehu Management Area indicated with the red hash marks, and the Waiakane Cultural Site and Freshwater Spring indicated in yellow. Here is a dedicated map of the FMA boundaries and the Opihi Rest Area rotational zones with their associated reference points. And here is a zoomed-in, dedicated map of the Kaʻūpūlehu Management Area and Waiakane Cultural Site and Freshwater Spring with their associated reference points. As mentioned in the previous slide, the rules establish the Kaʻūpūlehu FMA fishing permit, which would be required for taking of marine life on or near the shoreline. The permit would be valid for 1 year and would be free of charge. Applications would be available both online and in person at the DAR Kona office and would require some type of acknowledgement of understanding of the rules for enforcement purposes. The permit will require fishers to check in and check out for each fishing trip that includes a fishing trip catch report upon checkout. This place-based permit that applies to all fishers, including recreational or subsistence fishers, is the first of its kind in Hawai'i. The permit system will establish a hui of fishers that we can easily get connected with if there are any announcements for the area or updates to the rules. The permit application will ensure permittees acknowledge they have read and understand the rules, allowing for enhanced enforcement, and the reporting requirement will fill a much-needed non-commercial catch data gap that has limited effectiveness of previous management efforts. Entry into the Waiakane Cultural Site and Freshwater Spring will be prohibited due to its heightened cultural importance as a wahipana, or storied place, as well as its ecological importance as a freshwater spring supporting nearshore reef health in the immediate vicinity. Within the Kaʻūpūlehu Management Area surrounding the Waiakane Cultural Site and Freshwater Spring, the only allowed gear will be hand poles with no reel, luhe'e, and hand gathering. Within the rest of the FMA, the only allowed fishing gear, in addition to the fishing gear allowed within the Kaʻūpūlehu Management Area, will be spears, including spear guns, 3-prong, and Hawaiian slings, but only during the day, meaning spearfishing would be prohibited from 30 minutes after sunset to 30 minutes before sunrise. Throw nets, pole and line, up to 2 poles per person, 2 hooks per pole. Traps, provided that they are visually inspected every 2 hours, and opihi picking tools 12 inches or smaller in total length in any dimension. There are 10 priority species or species groups listed in the rules as follows: Ama'ama or anai, omilu, mu, humu, all species of uhu, moi, moano kea, also known as moano ukali ulua, moano ukali, or moana kali, uku, paku'iku'i, and ulua aukea. For kumu, there is a minimum size of 12 inches, and for uhu, taking of terminal phase males, also known as blue uhu, is prohibited, and there is a maximum size of 20 inches for all other uhu. Additionally, there is an individual bag limit of 1 per person per day for each of the listed priority species that will be elaborated on in the next slide. Within the FMA, there will be an overall or aggregate finfish bag limit of up to 10 finfish per person per day, provided that up to 2 of the 10 finfish may be any combination of either an illegal size finfish from a priority species listed in the previous slide, or a finfish over 12 inches in total length of any species, noting that these 2 finfish may not be of the same species. Exceptions to the 10 finfish overall bag limit include non-native species such as roi, ta'ape, to'au, and kanda, which do not have a bag limit, and ōpelu, akule, and ʻoama, which each have their own bag limit of up to 20 per person per day. For invertebrates, taking of live kupe'e will be prohibited. He'e will have a bag limit of up to 2 per person per day. Ula, or spiny lobster, and ula papapa, or slipper lobster, will have a combined bag limit of up to 2 per person per day. All sea urchin species, such as vana, pa'ukeuke, and ina, will have a combined bag limit of up to 15 per person per day. Taking of female a'ama crabs will be prohibited, and male a'ama crabs will have a bag limit of up to 15 per person per day. Finally, this slide illustrates the proposed enhanced opihi management measures to be implemented with this rulemaking proposal. First, there will be a combined bag limit of up to 15 opihi per person per day for all 3 opihi species, Makaiauli, Alinalina, and Ko'ele. Additionally, the coast will be divided into alternating A-B opihi rest area rotational zones as shown in the map. The rotational zones have been selected so that similar habitat types are represented equally in A zones and B zones, with zone A1 having a similar habitat type to zone B1, and zone A2 having a similar habitat type to zone B2. Beginning in 2026, the A and B zones will rotate from being open to closed and vice versa every 5 years. During the 5-year open period of a given area, Makaiauli and Alinalina will have a minimum size limit of 1.5 inches throughout the entire 5 years, whereas Ko'ele will have a slot limit with a minimum size of 2.5 inches and a maximum size of 3 inches for the first 4 years, and a minimum size limit of 3 inches with no maximum for the 5th year. Then, after the 5th year, the open zones will close and the closed zones will open for the following 5 years. The table on this slide provides an overview of the 10-year open-close cycle for each of the species. This concludes our overview of the proposed rules. Mahalo for listening, and we look forward to hearing your mana'o in the testimony portion of this public hearing.
We have now reached the testimony portion of this public hearing. As a reminder, the address to the DAR YouTube channel is at the bottom of this slide, and a link to the live stream has also been pasted into the chat. If you just want to listen into this hearing without providing testimony, you are welcome to log off this Zoom meeting and view the YouTube live stream of this hearing. Once again, we ask that everyone keep your microphones muted and cameras off until I call your name to provide testimony. I will now stop sharing my screen so everyone providing testimony can be clearly seen. If you have registered for this Zoom hearing, we will presume you are interested in providing testimony, and we will call your name in the order you have signed up. If you do not wish to provide oral testimony, please indicate so when we call your name, or you can let us know through the chat feature. Okay, first up, we have Leina-ala Leitner. Aloha, go ahead.
Aloha, David. My name is Leina-ala Kekealani Leitner, and I am the daughter of Robert Lo'opaka Kekealani, who was born at Kahuwaʻi Kaʻūpūlehu, October 24th, 1916. He is the last recorded birth at Kahuwaʻi, then being a thriving ūpūlehu fishing village of Kaʻūpūlehu, raised by my tutu Helena Kahiko and her husband Mahiko, resided at Kahuwaʻi till the passing of Tutu in 1935. My testimony reflects some fishing traditions of Kekaha, fishing practices of the natives of Kekaha. Kuluka po veluhu, kamalama, he laia o ole ke ia. Kulu is then night. Velehu is the month. This is the day of no fish. This was the purpose for our seasonal closure suggestion. Kaloa, kulua, ke pi o ke aku, a ohe poe a ka pa. The aku are stingy. The lure attract no people. On this day, the aku take off and do not stay at the ko'a. The swordfish from the depths chase the aku. This is reasoning for the 20-foot, 120 feet depth bordering our aku and ūpūlehu ko'a. Ka kaweka, the stingy, hard place. There are times known as the storms of the Kaha land, and this time would bring a wind that prevents the canoes from going out. Again, the wind patterns are consistent with seasonal, especially during the months of January till May, and our kupuna named these winds because it affected their lives as fishermen. Ke e ka, makani ho'olale, wa'a o na kona. The Eka breeze of Kona that calls to the canoemen to sail forth to fish. In 1996, Kepa Malley interviewed over 20 kupuna who were either born at the shoreline or kekaha or up in the uka lands and recorded their voices, sharing the importance of taking care of the fisheries in Kaʻūpūlehu. Generational knowledge of fishing in the kekaha region. The families never had a problem with no fish for the ohana from Napu'uma all the way to Kailua. Never had problems of no fish. But because population increased in the Kona area, let alone the Big Island, and unmanaged access and a total change in mindset, more and more is better. If I don't take, somebody else will. Commercial take it all. Aloha no. Your kukua and respect for the simple generation fishing practices of Kaʻūpūlehu will only take what you can eat. Only you, Dar, can answer that question. You going to make rules? Aloha no. We need to keep them. What will Dar make of this effort? The fishermen of Kona support this plan so you can go fish in Kaʻūpūlehu. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Next, we have Ho'ohila Kavelo, not present. Taylor Kozloff, not present. Kalani Kiocho. Aloha, go ahead.
Hey, aloha. Aloha kākou. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Kalani Kiocho, and I serve as the director for the Nature Conservancy's Hawaiʻi Island Marine Program. The Nature Conservancy Hawaii and Palmyra supports the proposed administrative rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area and the associated amendment for the West Hawaii Regional Fisheries Management Area to establish the Kaʻūpūlehu Fish Replenishment Area. TNC was first invited to Kaʻūpūlehu in 2009, and ever since then, the communities and families of Kaʻūpūlehu and Kūki have taught us what it means to support community-based management and how to carry kuleana to the places where we work and to the people and communities we work alongside. TNC stands in strong support of Hui Kahuvai's efforts to move these rules forward through a rulemaking process. Hui Kahuvai has developed an impressive administrative record of their extensive outreach and engagement efforts. They have demonstrated robust collaborative planning and decision-making and have been steadfast in exhausting every reasonable measure to ensure transparency and inclusivity so that sustainable subsistence-based fishing may responsibly resume in Kaʻūpūlehu and Kūki. The tri-weight rest period was a demonstration of fierce aloha aina. Continuous and consistent monitoring created one of the strongest nearshore data sets in Hawaii, and a collaborative analysis of those data with partners from the University of Hawaii, Hui Kahuvai, TNC, and DAR again reinforced kupuna observations that fish abundance was returning to these reefs. Monitoring data show that resource fish biomass within the reserve is now 118% greater than in reefs across other areas of North Kona. Altogether, this was evidence that the rest period achieved its ecological goals and that management must now ensure a continued ecological integrity. These proposed rules are necessary to ensure the gains of tri-weight are not lost. The Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Plan establishes a balanced, adaptive framework that includes comprehensive bag limits, gear restrictions, size protections, ōpihi rotational management, and sensitive area protections such as the Kaimalu Cultural and Nursery Zone. These approaches work together to safeguard abundance while honoring subsistence traditions and respecting fishing practices that are appropriate for the place. Additionally, the plan invests in ongoing monitoring, community engagement, and adaptive management, ensuring that the fishery at Kaʻūpūlehu can remain healthy for future generations. TNC urges the department to adopt the proposed rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area so that Kaʻūpūlehu and Kūkiʻo can undergo co-management and adaptive management framework moving forward. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify in support. Aloha.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Shardy Freitas. Aloha, go ahead.
Aloha, Sharday Freitas. On behalf of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, OHA supports the proposed administrative rules for Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area and the associated amendment, the West Hawaii Regional Fishery Management Area, to reestablish the Kaʻūpūlehu Fish Replenishment Area. OHA has consistently supported community-based fisheries management initiatives, particularly by rural fishing communities that continue to follow the native Hawaiian traditions, values, and lifestyles that have sustained them for generations. Earlier this year, OHA's Board of Trustees adopted a resolution supporting the continued community-led management of Kaʻūpūlehu, including ongoing agency rulemaking, and I believe that's part of your administrative record. It is with deep honor, and as the prior testifier had also uplifted of the work of Kaʻūpūlehu and the Hui Kahuvai, that we express our mahalo and are here to support today as the kupuna of Kaʻūpūlehu with the Na Kupuna Council had the foresight to propose the Tri-Week Initiative. The 10-year nearshore tri-week period for the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve represents a conscious, community-driven effort to return to a successful subsistence fishery to ultimately benefit the environmental, cultural, and economic interests of current and future generations. Kaʻūpūlehu has been a model for its continued practice of traditional and customary practices and development of a community monitoring program which uses 5 different survey methods as part of their fishery management plan. With their intimate knowledge of and commitment to their place and resources, such communities possess the expertise and capacity to effectively ensure the conservation and protection of the local marine environment. The promotion of traditional place-based harvesting practices can also ensure the preservation and perpetuation of culture, highlight the cultural value of the nearshore area, and convey the sense of respect traditionally maintained for the ocean and its resources. For these reasons, OHA stands in support, and mahalo for the opportunity to testify.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Rebecca Most.
Aloha. Says my video has been disabled by the host, so if you could turn that back on, that'd be awesome. Aloha.
There you go. You should be able to. Aloha.
Thanks. Aloha, my name's Rebecca Most. I'm the Executive Director of Hui Kahuvai, the community organization carrying forward the kuleana of the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Life Advisory Committee. Hui Kahuvai stands in strong support of the proposed Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area and associated rules. And this proposal was built on rigorous place-based data accumulated over generations. We began with Ike Kapuna and the archaeological records. The kapuna of this area are the strongest data set that we have. They built their practices about when, where, and how to fish specific to this place. And that deep knowledge is the foundation on which all our proposal is built upon. But we also looked at the archaeological record, and we found from the midden surveys that surgeon fish made up over 50% of the food harvested by the families of this place. And before the tri-weight rest period began, we conducted creel surveys to understand how many people were fishing, what gear they were using, and what they were catching. The creel data told us clearly that the fishery was depleted by those few individuals that were taking very large quantities, and the majority of people fishing were catching less than 10 fish per trip. The RNTNC completed over 1,497 scuba surveys over 17 years. The results show resource fish biomass is now 118% higher than other North Kona reefs. And we also have over 91 community-based monitoring surveys informing seasonal changes and recruitment patterns. All of this showing us that tri-weight has worked. Our partners at Namaka Onana have monitored the productivity of the intertidal zone for over 12 years and documented ōpihi life history information. And this data directly informed the rotational ōpihi areas and size limits in the plan. To translate all this knowledge into regulations, we looked at the creel data and species-specific life history data, including size at reproductive maturity, maximum sizes, mortality rates, site fidelity, and spawning seasons. We weighed the trade-offs for different rules, trying to maximize the catch for fishers while ensuring the reproductive health for replenishment for generations to come. So we know that we will see some declines when fishing resumes. What we don't know is how many people will come to fish and how quickly those declines will occur. We want to emphasize that given that uncertainty, it is only prudent and wise to take the precautionary approach, one that effectively ensures that the gains of tri-weight are not lost. Over time, we can adaptively manage with DAR, which means we can increase the catch if the fishery is doing well, and also add in more protections if we see declines are concerning. So in conclusion, we urge the board to adopt these rules as proposed, take a precautionary approach, honor the Ike Kapuna so that tri-weight feeds generations to come. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Kamale Lind. Kamale, do you want to? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, aloha nui kākou. My name is Kamali Lind, Executive Director of Kipahulu Ohana over in Kipahulu, Maui Hikina. I'm testifying in strong support of the proposed administrative rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area and associated rules. In Kipahulu, our relationship with the kai is rooted in kuleana. It's not just about fishing, it's about knowing when to take, when to stop, and how to ensure that our resources continue to feed our ohana for generations. Through years and years of work, our community has established a CVSFA in 2024. And through that process, we've seen clearly that community are the best co-managers of our nearshore resources. We observe change over time. We understand the rhythms of our places, and we're the first to feel when those resources decline. What Kaʻūpūlehu has done through the tri-weight effort reflects a clear commitment to malama their fishery over the long term. Making the decision to rest the fishery for 10 years takes discipline and a collective commitment. The recovery that followed the increase in fish biomass and overall reef health is not surprising. It is what happens when people honor their kuleana and allow resources to rebuild. What is important now is that reopening is done with intention, and this proposal reflects exactly that. This is not a full reopening without structure. These rules include clear bag limits, size limits, gear restrictions, rotational closures, and monitoring. There is a system in place for continued observation, fisher engagement, and adaptive management. That balance is extremely critical because without it, we risk losing the gains that have already been made. From our perspective, this is what pono management looks like. It reflects both scientific understanding and the ike of the community. It is practical, enforceable, and designed to last. We also want to acknowledge and commend Hui Kahuvai and the Kaʻūpūlehu community. The level of work behind this, years of discussion, refinement, and willingness to make hard decisions shows their serious commitment to malama their place. As a community that has gone through a similar process, we know that designation is not the end. It requires ongoing kilo adaptation and accountability. That is why it is important that the state continues to support these efforts in a real way. If we want healthy reefs and continued subsistence practices, we need to trust and invest in community-driven management. The state cannot do this alone. We strongly urge the board to adopt these rules and move forward with the implementation so that fishing can resume in a way that protects the resources and honors the work that has already been done by the community. Mahalo nui for the opportunity to testify.
Mahalo. Next, we have Chad Wiggins. Aloha, Chad.
Aloha, David. Aloha mai kako. I humbly support the Kaʻūpūlehu Fishing Plan. I reside in Waimea, Lalamilo, Kohalahima, Moko Keawe. My name is Chad Wiggins. Tonight I'm joining from Sylacauga, Alabama, home of the Cree and Cherokee Nation. And this is where I grew up. My elders taught me to fish, farm, and cultivate life here, and also how to harvest responsibly. The values of working hard, sharing, praying, eating well, and giving thanks are endemic to our survival in all places on earth. As the Bible says, as ye sow, so shall ye reap. And Kaʻūpūlehu has sown abundance for us to reap. And I'm very grateful to the kupuna, the fishing families, and the people of Kaʻūpūlehu for that. Reciprocity is non-negotiable, like aloha. We cannot harvest before first cultivating life. And my first 25 years of science experience gave me mana'o, knowledge about what's going on in the ocean. The ocean, the deep ocean, ke kaiuli, ako'ako'a, the coral reef. These places hold ike, deep wisdom. And the ocean peoples of Hawaii and the Pacific have at least 4,000 years of deep wisdom. Observing and monitoring through kilo and helu are traditional practices that are consistent with appropriate management. Presence and experience is place-based. And through hundreds of dives I've been privileged to have at Kaʻūpūlehu with the Division of Aquatic Resources, the Nature Conservancy, and my family, I've been able to see and to kilo many, many things. The last time I was there, I was with my son, observing fish and catching invasive fish, observed the behaviors of the fishes after protection, where they're very comfortable around divers, maybe not very familiar with fishing gear yet. I also observed fish that are quite wary and evidence of poaching that is underway, that has occurred, that will continue without enforcement. And so it's very important that the rules are based on deep knowledge and that they are enforceable. The Kaʻūpūlehu fishing families bring 400 years of deep wisdom to this rule package, and the permit is vital as a tool for accountability, learning, adaptation, and community. Permits have been sought for responsible fishing in Hawaii for many years, including at Wailuku, through the fishing community there. And permit is a part of being a pono fisher person, Lawai'a pono. The ocean is going to need our help to heal through cultivation and consistency and not through commercial compromise. So thank you for allowing me to demonstrate my support this evening.
Hey, mahalo, Chad. Next, we have Daryl Tanaka, not present. Jeffrey Coakley, not present. Hisayo Nakajima, not present. Uilani Naipo.
Aloha
Aloha.
mai. I'm Uilani Naipo, Marine Advocate for Place-Based Governance, Traditional Practices in Nearshore and Marine Stewardship, in strong support of Hui Kahawai and this rules package before us. The sacrifice made nearly 10 years ago, that's half a generation, the thousands of hours in surveys, analysis, the structuring of an organization to establish itself, Hui Kahawai, and a strong partnership with University of Hawaii and the Nature Conservancy now is being reflected in this package before us. It reflects the lived experiences, traditional ecological knowledge, lessons, and methodologies informed by the Aina, He Ali'i no Hoi. Nakawa have put forth these recommendations. All the work culminates to this here. The thing that I thought was kind of surprising is, for those of us who have established rules for marine designation, those the hard work. It was already described before us about place-based knowledge contributing to the data that is evaluated next to Western science data. And we've got to just commend them for the incredible work. This is the best case scenario that we ever had, where Western science is put right alongside with traditional and cultural practices related to fisheries management. And I'm very surprised that a lot more rules didn't come forth that is really cultural based. But I'm entrusting that the co-management between Kaʻūpūlehu and Division of Aquatic Resources will bring the best that we can have. I'm hoping that we can utilize adaptive management to be more towards a traditional use versus emergency use that we kind of see now. So I can't say enough how impressed we are. I think we're all looking towards Kaʻūpūlehu to be a model. And I think all of our marine designated areas provide unique to the studies of how we do our management, our fisheries management. And it's unique that we have CBSFA, that we have such a FMA coming forth, and we have MLCDs. And each one can contribute to a more traditional perspective and model for fisheries management. And so I look forward to that. And I want to congratulate Kaʻūpūlehu for an awesome work. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in strong support.
Hey, mahalo. We have Ui Hirai, not present. Eddie Kelly. Eddie, would you like to provide testimony? Okay, we'll come back to you. Next on the list, we have Leanne Binkowski. Not present. Frederick Smith. Not present. Kaimi Kaupiko.
Aloha.
Aloha, Kaimi, go ahead.
Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to support our neighboring community in Kaʻūpūlehu. I live in Miloli'i as well as been doing a lot of community-based work for many years, and I just mahalo the work that the Hui has done to continue to malama and steward their spaces. I have submitted my testimony, and I just wanted to concur with all the testimony of tonight regarding the work, the effort they have done, have been an important part of the work that we have done as well. So I just wanted to agree with all the different rules that have been through their scoping. I support the effort they have done to monitor, to understand their resource, to put all that effort in. I was there 10 years ago when they did the closure. We supported them, and tonight we're so proud of the work that they are doing now to open it up and manage it according to their kupuna and of course their knowledge as practitioners and stuff like that. I just wanted to come on and give testimony. I just said my love to all of them. I won't be able to come tomorrow, but I wanted to come on and just applaud the work and all of them for doing all that, and urge the states to pass their rules. Mahalo.
Hey, mahalo. Next up, Gabriella Canal, not present. Billy Kinney. Aloha, Billy.
Hello, Kako. Yep, Billy Kini, calling in from Hanalei, Kauai, Hanalei. Currently the assistant director of the Hui Maka'ainana o Makana in Haena. We established the first community-based subsistence fishing area in 2015 with rules package. So we know this rules process very well. Painful process, but a necessary one. And the Kaʻūpūlehu rules as it is now and the management area and associated rules very much so reminds us of Haena. And we would like to be in strong support of the Kaʻūpūlehu management area and associated rules. We agree with gear restrictions that have been proposed, as well as bag limits that look very much so like ours. But we definitely support Kaʻūpūlehu and the community and the ike of that place to determining really the priority species and the size limits and the bag limits. That is incredibly important. And then we also support the place-based fishing permit. We would also strongly support moving forward the Kaʻūpūlehu management area and rules with the intentions to honor the ike of the kupuna and the kupa of Kaʻūpūlehu, Kūkio, and Hui Kahuvai's many work over the decades. Yeah, and I would just finally, we're going to submit written testimony as well, but I would just bring up one anecdote that Uncle Press, who is very well versed in this work, he always says, like, sometimes in this work you have people who like to point fingers, and they point fingers at people who don't do something or is doing something that you don't like, and you might have one finger pointing at them, but then you have three pointing back at you. And imagine if you was Hui Kahuvai and this community, and you did all of this work, and you have people pointing fingers at you, but really, they're the ones that also have to live with these rules, and they're the ones that have to minimize their catch and be the most mindful about how to sequester their urge to thrive off of this aina momona that they've helped to create. And that is a really important thing. And I think that moving forward with these rules and this management of this fisheries has to honor their work, their kupuna and the kupa of that place, first and foremost, above everything else. Mahalo.
Hey, mahalo. Next up, we have Malia Kipapa. Aloha.
Aloha kako. Mahalo for the opportunity. My name is Malia Kipapa. I am calling in from Kealakehe, Kona, on Hawaiʻi Island. I stand on my written testimony provided. I strongly support the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area proposed rules and amendments as defined by the Kaʻūpūlehu and Kūkio communities proposal. As a kupa of Moko Keawe and a descendant of a long line of Lawaiʻa from Pahoehoe Kona, it is important to set rules and regulations that are of place and specific to place in order for it to be maintained and work. My support for this effort began in 2009 during my time on the West Hawaii Fisheries Advisory Council, where I learned of the courageous decision by Kaʻūpūlehu families to voluntarily rest their fisheries so resources could recover. The community witnessed the decline of a once abundant fishery and chose to act with foresight and care. Their commitment has reflected their unwavering sacrifice for this wahipana. My previous work with the Hawaii Community Stewardship Network and participation in monitoring efforts there further grounded my understanding of this special place and its ecological and cultural importance. Over the years, I've seen the integrity, consistency, and intention of these stewards as they thoughtfully work through the vetting process with community and government entities to comply with the rulemaking process. These rules are pono, community-driven, and thoughtfully developed. I respectfully urge the Department of Division of Aquatic Resources to approve and move forward with the administrative rules and amendment process to formalize these kanawai. Mahalo for this opportunity to provide my testimony of support.
Hey, mahalo. Before we go forward, I want to circle back to Eddie Kelly. Are you on and do you want to provide testimony? And then if not, Kapiolani Binkowski. No. Okay, let's move on. Next is Alex Min. Not present. Nicole Tachibana. Not present. Kaikea Nakachi. Aloha, Kaikea.
How's it? I may borrow 45 seconds of Nikki's, but I'll get going. My name is Kaikea Nakachi, and I'm a part of Hui Kahuai. We've worked incredibly hard over the 10 years of tri-weight. We've surveyed to get data for fish, coral, intertidal inverts, and my personal research on mono. That's over 1,500 fish surveys alone. A KS Commission archaeological study affirmed the importance of surgeonfish as one of the most caught species using traditional methods of barbless hooks and nets. So we used all of that data to inform our place-based management plan, and we know tri-weight worked. We spent a year working with DAR and our partners to verify our fish survey data. And I'll just note that tri-weight was a simple fix to a problem. And the problem was overharvest from increased access from land and sea to fish this area of North Kona. But we tried to use all the data that we've gathered along with that ancestral knowledge of place to come up with our management plan, and for that plan to be enacted from a place of abundance after tri-weight. And our goal is to keep that abundance and restore that level of care that the people of place never stopped having, and to also hold everyone to that same standard. I'll note that we first had our first draft of our plan at the end of 2023, and we've spent over 2.5 years conducting outreach. We've had dozens of meetings with every user group imaginable, and we've revised our plan 3 times. Believe me when I say we have done the work. I support this labor of love. I will say, however, that every revision represents the people of place giving up a protection. Those protections are based on generational knowledge, data, and successful lived experience of place-based management in Kaʻūpūlehu. Oftentimes, the changes made come from the opinions and desires of commercial fishers, not only from other ahupua'a, sometimes from other islands, and oftentimes with no real justification or data of their own to warrant the change, yet the change has been made. Some of the changes I can live with because I want this plan and all our hard work to move forward, and because if this plan doesn't move forward, the Tri-Weight Marine Reserve will continue. See my long written testimony on many of the rules that I believe should be added back. And I'll say that removing what worked for people in Kaʻūpūlehu in the past for the sake of simplicity will only contribute further to the problem that required tri-weight in the first place. I ask that we please add back priority species size limits and seasonal closures, as well as gear restrictions for barbed hooks and slide bait rigs, since they are styles of fishing that the community of Kaʻūpūlehu does not participate in, and ask that visitors do not either. And my last thing I'll show is this picture behind me. This represents some of my own research on mano and the ulua that accompany them. And it shows that even a species with the potential for large movements can and do show potential, do show strong site fidelity. I've seen this individual ulua in the exact same place in Kekaha several dozen times, spanning at least 6 years starting in 2018. Ulua and Kaʻūpūlehu deserve a size limit and seasonal closure to promote sustainable subsistence fishing of appropriate size ulua during the appropriate season and to prohibit trophy fishing during their peak reproductive season. So please listen to the people of place who know this place best and be adaptive co-managers with them. All of DAR's biggest successes come from working with the community. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Kara Dumagwin, not present. Clayton Kubo, I think he stepped off. La'i Bertelman. Oh,
Aloha kako.
aloha.
I would first like to state that I am in support of the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Plan. My name is La'i Kawaiʻoluokeaho Keakealani Bertelman. I am from the Kekaha region, specifically Napu'u or Pu'uanahulu. I am a kupu of this aina with genealogical ties that trace back many generations, something that humbles me deeply. In 2015, I was one of the youngest people to testify in support of the Tri-Weight Initiative, speaking from my own conviction. Although my parents were initially hesitant because I was a keiki then, I felt a strong kuleana to stand up and speak for my aina. It was important to me then, and it remains just as important today. For generations, my ohana has been at the forefront of cultural perpetuation, working alongside landowners to ensure that our aina kupuna is cared for properly, sharing mo'olelo and ike kupuna, and actively practicing and preserving our traditional ways from Mauka to Makai. Over the past decade, we have seen clear proof that Native Hawaiian cultural practices and ancestral knowledge are not only valid, but essential. This movement has created a ripple effect across our state, inspiring other ahupua'a to restore and live by their own ike kupuna. It has built momentum grounded in responsibility, sustainability, and connection to place. For me, this is about more than the present. It is about ensuring that if we can try wait, go and get, for myself, for my children, and for my mahalo.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Sophia Ranke, not present. Malia Leitner.
Aloha, aloha, David. Oh, color mine.
Aloha.
Off of mine, maybe. Disconnect. Okay. Aloha again. Ova Malia Leitner, no pu'uano hulu ame Kaʻūpūlehu maiau. I am a kanaka oiwi of this place, and I support the Kaʻūpūlehu Management Plan and opening back up our shoreline for pono and sustainable fishing practices. I also would like to kako'o and mahalo the testimonies of supporters presented before me, as they all speak to various important aspects as well. In addition, I ask that if any changes, significant or otherwise, are considered to be made to the plan, continue to be done in collaboration with the people of place and informed by not just the scientific data, but also lived and observed data, aka kilo, specifically place-based in Kaʻūpūlehu. I ask that we as a collective work to change the narrative of what take looks like according to malama instead of simply removal. I especially support adaptive management as a real practice based again on kilo and place-based knowledge. I urge you, DAR, to stand with the community of place, to not simply ask for community engagement and co-management, but to put that into lived behavioral action, to stand for and practice your kuleana to Hawaiʻi, to stand for accountability, to stand for sustainability, to stand for pono practices, and to stand for your own mission of managing, conserving, and restoring our resources, to fight the hard battles as we have for generations. How much time we get? Okay. I just wanted to also say, as I've been thinking this past years and months and weeks of conversations, meetings, and discussions had, I guess mo'olelo that I was told as a child came to mind. And I don't know if some of you know it, but of the little red hen. And sometimes that's what it feels like when I come to these meetings and discussions is that, you know, everybody wants to take and when do we come and when do we get and when do we how much can we take and that's not enough and all these conversations and it's just really, really hard to swallow sometimes. And it just feels like the work that's been done can so quickly go back to what it looked like 10 years ago. And it just would be such a shame. So I ask us not to be like the mo'olelo of the little red hen and all work together as a people of Hawaii to malama our resources before it's too late. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Want to circle back to Clayton Kubo. Go ahead, Clayton.
Clayton Kubo, Waimea, Kauai. I just like put in some comments. So did this group also try and collaborate with other divisions, like say Dobar, maybe get some commercial activities over there that is, how can I put it, like maybe making things harder for the fish? You know, how about water quality, you know, in that area? Because as far as I'm not from there, but I talk to people in that area, especially fishers, yeah. So it's like, how about the resort? Is the resort, activities hampering, fish production in that area? I hope you guys had include everyone in this process that at least they can give their mana'o, yeah? As they say, mana'o. Commercial activities can do on hamperings too. Not all, but some. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Mahalo, Clayton. Next up, we have Garth Yamanaka. Aloha, Garth.
Hello, David. My name is Garth Yamanaka, and I'm in support of the Kaʻūpūlehu Rules package. My connection to Kaʻūpūlehu spans generations through my grandfather, father, and my own experiences spending time in the area. For me, this effort reflects something deeper than just a set of rules. It reflects the necessary shift in how we manage our public resources. Through this process, it has become clear that the people of place, those who are present in the area and maintain an ongoing relationship with it, play an essential role in how these resources are cared for. They observe change as it happens, and they carry a sense of kuleana that comes from being connected to the place over time. For me, giving weight to the voices of the kupuna and people of place is something I grew up with, and I see it as an affirmation of traditional and customary practices, not just in principle, but in how decisions should be made. State has a necessary role within the framework we operate in, but on its own, it's not enough to fully achieve the outcomes we're all working toward. It must consider the many perspectives across a large coastline and does not have unlimited resources to monitor and respond to changes in real time. That's why the shift towards place-based management is so important. That connection to place, being present, observing change as it happens, that makes adaptive management possible. One of the most important components of this proposal is the place-based fishing permit. Not just a regulatory tool, but as a way to collect information in real time, what species are being taken, where they are being taken, and how the use patterns are changing. That type of information allows the decision makers to respond more quickly, more effectively as the conditions change. Without it, we are often relying on delayed or incomplete data. If we are serious about adaptive management, then data collection and feedback loops must be a part of the system. What I see in this rules package is not an endpoint, starting point of a structure that brings together people, place, data, and the ability to adapt over time. For these reasons, I support this rules package as an important step forward, and I believe continuing in this direction is how we achieve long-term success. Mahalo.
Okay, mahalo. Next up, we have Elizabeth Terrio. Elizabeth, do you want to provide testimony?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, can.
Thank you. I want to first say thank you so much for everyone that has spoke in advance of me. It really helps. My name is Elizabeth Terrio. I have been a West Hawaii resident since 1985. I worked at Kona Village Resort in Kahuwa'i Bay since 1994 until closing in 2011. While there, I met Auntie Lei and formed a good friendship, which developed into an alliance as I supported her vision for the development of Kaʻūpūlehu Interpretive Learning Center at Kalaimano for the children of Hawaii, along with family organizations and Ohana. And eventually the tri-weight initiation was legislated. My testimony, that's just my background, so you know who's talking. My testimony, the gems of Hawaii can be found in cultural practices. These are appropriated by sustainability and inclusive of all elements. 3 points. Protect the practices of Kaʻūpūlehu. No commercialism, work to change mindset to sustainability, and hold the Department of Aquatic Resources accountable. Your support is greatly needed at this time. The current active generations of lineage holders and protectors of this coastline have taken extreme and beautiful care to maintain and restore what has been taken from and/or neglected for decades. Within the Tri-Weight Initiative's 10 years, restorations have been incredibly inspiring in the best of way, now thriving. The documentations speak for themselves. Sustainability needs to continue for decades more to come and beyond. Will you be leaders of earth care and culture or act in manners of consumerism status quo? Once species are gone, they are never to be seen or experienced again. Once waters are neglected, there is no life. Without a smooth understanding of mana or aloha, we would know that empty feeling that can be experienced nearly anywhere else in the world. We have a unique opportunity to lead through example of what it means to be good human beings, good stewards of what we are here to do in the world, act on behalf to protect and serve those vulnerable animals, plant life, and waters who cannot fend for themselves, vulnerable due to possibly arrogance, domination, greed, or neglect. Community support is always needed. Balance is key. Equally vital, like a net of connection, is perpetuation of Hawaiian language with its multi-layered wisdoms of guidance, inclusivity, and protections. The strong components of identity, values, and guidance woven into the practice of restoration and responsibility are to be learned and discovered at Kaʻūpūlehu. In closing, if left to our own devices, quite frankly, many human beings are often found in darkness, self-destruction, or selfish tendencies. Globally, we are in a state of environmental emergency. The time is now to stand up in integrity. We respectfully ask for your clarity and wise decisions for what is most important and take action accordingly. Mahalo nui loa for your time and energy in support of Kaʻūpūlehu and its rules. Thank you so much. Aloha.
Mahalo. Next, we have Mimi Wilson, not present. Mary Donovan.
Let me start my video.
Oh, let me change that. Should be able to now.
Okay, it's not working. I can just do it orally though, if that's
Okay, go ahead.
okay. Okay, aloha. My name is Mary Donovan, and I am submitting this testimony in my capacity as a faculty member at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, Hawaii Institute of Marine Biology. In this testimony today, I'm going to highlight some research findings for the public record that have been produced through a collaborative effort by Hui Kahuvai, the Hawaii Division of Aquatic Resources, the Nature Conservancy, and the University of Hawaii, using multiple underwater data sets collected over the last 17 years. To address some of the complexities and challenges of how scientific results are used in management, all four of these groups, we worked together to find consensus on some of the major questions motivating the management actions being considered. So one of the big questions we addressed was kind of a fundamental one. Did resource fish biomass increase during the 10-year tri-wait period? We found that resource fish biomass increased across 3 habitat types, both inside and in the adjacent areas to the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve. And we also detected that the increase was significantly greater inside the reserve in one habitat, the shallow coral habitat, indicating an effect of the management action. We also found that there was a large increase inside the reserve in a unique habitat there, the shallow bench area, and this was a particularly large increase. Another important finding was that recent resource fish biomass inside the reserve is now estimated to be 118% higher than in areas of similar habitat elsewhere in North Kona. So together, these results provide evidence that were created through this co-production across multiple groups with multiple perspectives and with multiple data sets for evaluating aspects of the management goals of the Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Reserve and for providing a basis for future adaptive management considerations. Mahalo for the opportunity to provide this testimony for the public record on behalf of everyone involved in helping generate these scientific evidence and the the impact that these results have on the management of the precious nearshore marine ecosystem of Kokio and Kaʻūpūlehu. Mahalo.
Hey, mahalo. Next, we have Mike Nakachi.
Hey, aloha, David. I'll pass and let for other people off Moku to provide testimony. And if there's time, I'll circle back. Thank you, David. If you
Okay,
could.
mahalo. Yep,
Appreciate
no
that.
problem. Kule Keakealani.
Oh, okay. My video is disabled by the host.
Yeah. Apologies. We had to change the settings. We're trying to figure that out, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, ale pili kia mahalo. He wahi aloha keia ia o ko o wau kuʻulei kia ke alani he kupa ai no hoʻi no keia aina o Kaʻūpūlehu. My name is Kuʻulei Kekealani. I am a kupa ai of this ahupua'a of Kaʻūpūlehu. Kupa ai, translated means eat long time. To eat from this place for a long time is something that I consider an honor and a privilege that this place has fed me for multiple generations before me, prayerfully multiple generations after me. I absolutely support this rules package and sat on this table when we said to ourselves, let's see what can be. We leaned in on imagination and we said again, let's see what can be. We leaned into memory. There is an olelo noʻeau, a wise proverb saying of our kupuna, e ai I ke kahi, e ka pi I ke kahi. This means to eat some, to salt some. The action part in this, ai, e ai I ke kahi, to eat, the action of eating, means that there is sustenance by which we eat. The other action word, kapi, to salt, to preserve, means that right in this statement is the mana'o. It is reflective of the Kanaka intention, Kanaka purpose, the Kanaka life ways that we will make sure can ai, and we make sure that we kapi, we save. I will also elevate words of kupuna, anali'i, liho liho. And he says, na wai ho'i ka ole o ke akamai, he ala nui I ma'a I ka hele ia e o'u mau kupuna. This means who is not wise enough to follow the path that is well known and well traveled by my parent generation. So I pose that to all of us. Who of us is not wise enough to travel and put our feet upon the path that is well traveled, ma'a, familiar to our parent generation? I would like to close with a poem that I wrote named Kako, this pronoun which means all of us. But I do dedicate this poem specifically to you folks, Dar, as the decision makers. Let's assemble around this thought, this issue, this cause, this reason. The campfire is lit. The heat of the fire blows upon the faces who are seated. Enna, enna. Fire burns within, swirling, stirring, turbulent energies released. Oni, mai pa'a ikaleo, find your voice. Thoughts align. Imi, search for where your thoughts settle. The flames of the campfire repeat the invite. Who hears the kahea? Deaf ears, reluctant ears, doubtful ears. Fears and questions may churn, but expand your potential. Where are your thoughts settling? The campfire, the flames, they are calling, echoing, pulsating, igniting. To you I say, seating is available. E noho mai. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Next, we have Lehua Kamaka. Lehua. Okay, we can circle back. After
Sorry,
that,
I got it. I couldn't get
okay.
my mic on. Sorry,
Okay.
everybody.
Go
Aloha,
ahead.
mai kako. Good to see you, David. Mahalo for sitting in and listening to everyone's heartfelt words. And
You should be able to share video now if you wish.
that's okay. I am so not good at this, so I'll just not touch it. Mahalo for this opportunity to add to the many voices. I, Sandy Lehua Kamaka, am in full support for what Hui Kahuvai has proposed for their rules and adaptive management. Kaʻūpūlehu has shown that the 10 years of waiting is worth the wait. To not taste the ono of Kaʻūpūlehu is a sacrifice given for future generation. Auntie Lei is a great model to why it's important to give up her ono so that only boy can have the ono. When I heard Auntie Lei say those words, it never left me because that is a sacrifice. When kupuna got to give up the ono, that's already a big thing. But to know that they want the next generation and the next generation to be able to have the ono, that is so pono to live by. So with that said, the extensive work done to collect data and the many hours put in is mind-blowing. We never seen anything like this or I've never seen it in our Kona Coast ever. And to take that step and to do it, like Ku'ule said, see what can. It's an imagination, but it's an imagination that came to life. So with Kona expanding, our resources, depleting, exploited, what you see happening at Kaʻūpūlehu is exactly what should be done. When native tenants see the depletion of place happening, try wait, try look again. What can we do? It's traditional practice to do something about it. Dar. It's about protecting and replenishing species and their habitats, taking respectful amounts, and having effective management. Let the people of place be your folks beckoning. They know what's going on. They see what's going on. They are helping you folks there. So with co-management, it is pono to listen to them. And don't let all these efforts be poho. You heard me the last time say that poho and pono, but that's all I know about you guys. What is poho and what is pono? So every action taken by the ohana, by the community is so pono that we gotta support this and we gotta make it happen. Mahalo nui loa. Have a great evening.
Hey, mahalo. Next up, we have Ginger Goye. Oh, there you
Aloha.
go. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Ginger Goye, and I'm here on behalf of Kua'aina Ulu Awamo. We stand on our written testimony in full support of the proposed rules in the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area. Through my work with KUA, I've had the great privilege to know and learn from the community members of Hui Kahuvai, and I'm here to speak to my experience witnessing them rise to the challenge in their roles as resource managers, embody the values of Lawaiʻa and Kapua Aloha, and express my utmost respect and esteem for them, not only as individuals, but as a hui. Now, why do I mention Kapua Aloha? Because I know in their hearts, in their practices, and in their decision making, they put the aina first. They put the resources first. They've been incredibly intentional in how they've shaped these rules, collaborated with their communities, taken the feedback of their communities, and addressed conflict while remaining composed in the face of belittlement and criticism. They bring humility and ike kupuna to this work, resolute in their aloha aina, and extend kindness to everyone, even and especially maybe to their biggest offenders. So to me, this isn't just about a set of rules. It's about recognizing a community when it has shown the endurance and integrity it takes to do things the Pono way. Hui Kahuvai is prepared for the next phase in management and deserves nothing but your full support and resources to back them up. I strongly urge you to approve these rules and allow them to continue stewarding their place in a way they've already proven they can. Mahalo for the opportunity to speak.
Mahalo. Next up, we have Charles Young, not present. Blake McNaughton, not present. Kanoe Morishige. Aloha.
Aloha. My name is Kanoe Morishige, and I'm a Kanako EV marine scientist, assistant professor at UH Manoa, and part of the intertidal research team of Namaka Onauna. I provide this testimony in my personal capacity as well as on behalf of Namaka Onauna in strong support of the proposed administrative rules for Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area. For the past 16 years, we have conducted intertidal research focused on opihi through monitoring and service at Kalai Manoa and across Hawai'i. We developed an opihi management plan that Hui Kahuvai has formally adopted for the Kaʻūpūlehu FMA. Our work is place-based, weaving OEV knowledge systems and tools of Western science, grounded in increasing production while honoring reciprocal relationships between people and place. The communities and aina of Kaʻūpūlehu and Kalai Manoa have been our kumu, deepening our understanding of how to listen and pay attention to what aina, including our oceans, need to thrive, and how to adjust our behaviors to support aina momona healthy communities of people and place. The opihi rules form a rotational system that balances harvest and regeneration to maximize opihi habitat function and productivity. Each measure targets habitat maintenance, enhanced reproduction, and improved recruitment so that sustainable harvest is optimized while honoring place-based rest and access. The rules are interdependent, each serves a specific purpose, and the system only works when implemented as a whole. After careful deliberation, the only change from our initial recommendation is to maintain a 1.25-inch minimum size for makaiuli and alinalina in years 1 through 4, paired with a reduced upper limit. For makaiuli and alinalina years 1 through 4, 1.25-inch to 2.25-inch size slot limit protects juveniles while allowing larger grazers to maintain habitat. Year 5, 1.5-inch minimum with no maximum strengthens the reproductive population entering the rest period and reduces competition, as well as opens up space for a new generation of recruits and spawners. For ko'ele, years 1 through 4, 2.25 inches to 3 inches, and in year 5, 3 inches minimum with no maximum. The year 5 harvest helps reset the system and provides a 1-year opportunity to target larger opihi for subsistence and other uses. We recognize these recommendations are complex and require deep familiarity with the species and shoreline, yet we are confident this investment serves the long-term interests of DLNR and our communities. By improving practices and behaviors, we must embrace ecological complexity and cultivate a closer, more attentive pilina or relationship with our species and shorelines, honoring them as home and family. This is community engagement and community-led problem solving. These rules enhance natural production while supporting our communities to become conscious, contributing stewards of place. I urge the department to adopt the proposed rules for the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area so that sustainable, subsistence-based fishing can responsibly resume under an adaptive, community-centered co-management framework. Mahalo for your consideration.
Mahalo. Next, we have Alohi Nakachi. Aloha.
Aloha mai. My name is Alohi Nakachi. I was born and raised on Mokuo Keawe. I have a PhD from UH at Manoa in the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Management. My PhD focused on how to better acknowledge Indigenous knowledge and stewardship into research management and academia. While there's a lot of great researchers and a large body of literature out there recognizing the importance of Indigenous knowledge and stewardship, there's still many barriers for better inclusion. Many of these barriers stem from financial and governance roots. It is estimated that globally, Indigenous stewards account for 75% of global biodiversity, and that's conservative estimates. Successful co-management processes and multiple organization management are often successful mainly from having the right people in place. We need to be the change we want to see. When there are no established processes and we carry on legacies of organizations and institutions that perpetuate colonial harms, we need to be the change we want to see. I hope as a state organization that carries on colonial harms and management harms, you also reflect on your own history and power dynamics. In co-management efforts, not limited to Hawaii either, these efforts often stem to fill a gap that management agencies have not filled, whether due to limited knowledge, lacking capacity, or limited resources, as is the case with Kaʻūpūlehu. In these efforts, when there are no agreements in place and power dynamics are at play, such as here with DAR holding all the authority capacity but placing the burden of proof on the community, the burden is unfairly held on the community where costs of their own time and expenses and volunteer time are held largely by them. The community of Kaʻūpūlehu has spent 27 years in this process, 17 years before Tri-Wait and 10 years of Tri-Wait. During this time, Kaʻūpūlehu Marine Life Advisory Council, now Hui Kahuvai, spent years and countless hours of deliberative processes using scientific tools and Ike Hawaiʻi with partners, including DAR and other scientists, along with docare officers, fishers, lineal descendants, cultural practitioners, and other community members, coming up with rules and gathering input to reflect the kuleana and ike of the community. These deliberative process took into account the capabilities of contemporary managers and fishers, as well as traditional fishing stewardship and managing practices. I support these rules and think we need to uplift our community stewards and those with the deepest relationships, ike, and experience of place. Our Kaʻūpūlehu community stewards collectively have mo'okuauha of place, ancestral knowledge, and ike, as well as contemporary science and education degrees. They are filling the roles of konohiki when DAR cannot, and we need to honor that knowledge and experience. I support these rules and think we need to do better to honor the kuleana and ike of our community members of place of Aina. We see Aina showing all the power and concerns now with these kona lows and the super El Nino, the same climate event that brought the tragic bleaching events. We need to have strong rules. We need to have stronger rules. So we should honor the rules proposed previously, such as with Appendix A, with species limits, bag limits, maximum size limits, slot seasonal limits, as well as the Kaimalu management areas extended to 20 fathoms. Mahalo nui.
Hey, mahalo. Before we move on to Alex Gherkin, I wanted to circle back to Alex Min. Are you on now? Alex, do you want to provide testimony? Okay, we'll try again later. Alex Gherkin, not present. Lauren Nakoa, not present. Kavika Ruddle, go ahead.
Aloha, David.
Aloha.
I'm here with my dad, Francis. I'm gonna have him go first. And is it okay if we just combine it?
Yep, you can each get 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, aloha, David.
Aloha.
I support the Kaʻūpūlehu program, but let me put my thoughts into the program. The state and the people who run these programs, in my mind, are at least 20 to 30 years in the rear of where it should be. First things that should be done is every person who fishes in Hawaiian waters should have a fishing license. They should be required to have one. Next, as areas get put back to a take zone, and another area should be put in a no-take zone. The amount of fish that is now in the no-take zone is not even close to the amount of fish these areas had 80 years ago, when the whole coast was full of all species of fish, and let me say, a lot bigger fish than we have now. More crabs, more lobsters, more ōpihi, a lot more ōpihi, and squid. There used to be big schools of fish. They're not here anymore. So these are just my thoughts that the no-take zones, the state should start trying to get a lot more no-take zones put into programs. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Aloha kākou, David. My name is Kavika Ruddle. I'm from the Hawaiʻi Island, and I have deep generational ties to waters of Kaʻūpūlehu and Kohala Coast. I stand in strong support of the Kaʻūpūlehu Fishery Management Plan and the work of Hui Kahuvai. About 10 years ago, this community made a hard but important decision to step back to quote-unquote try wait, to give this place a chance to rest and recover. That wasn't easy. It meant sacrifice. It meant thinking long-term instead of short-term. But today we're seeing what that kind of patience and kuleana can do. The fish have come back. The reefs feel alive again. And for those of us who grew up in these waters, that means everything. It's not just about numbers. It's about connection. It's about being able to pass something healthy and abundant on to the next generation and generations. What Hui Kahuvai and this community have built is powerful. It shows that when you trust local people, you can blend ike kupuna and with science. Real restoration can happen. And I'll say this, if we had taken the same approach along the Kohala Coast and other coastlines along all of Hawaiʻi Islands, we would be seeing even more abundance today, and it's not too late. So the Ruddle Ohana stands in strong support of the Kaʻūpūlehu Fishery Management Plan, and mahalo for allowing us to testify.
Hey, mahalo. Next, we have Kevin Chang. Aloha, Kevin.
Hey, aloha, can you see me? Yeah.
Yep.
Aloha, Kevin and Bully Chang, speaking on behalf of Kuaina Ulu Awamo. I'm not going to say much. Ginger said a lot of it. I just wanted to affirm the hope, the expectations, and the frustrations I've heard from community members on in this hearing. I want to just reflect on the fact that 10 years ago, when we were going through the hearings on Tri-Wait, one thing that always stood out to me was that it's a kuleana for the state and the community at Kaʻūpūlehu to move these rules out. Promises were made 10 years ago to fishing community members that I kept deeply ingrained in my heart at that time. And so these things need to move forward. And I just want to affirm the things folks talked about in regards to an openness to more adaptive management. I think adaptive management flows with the kind of management we need in Hawaii, but is also being affirmed as a kind of management that's being seen and needed globally. Local, place-based adaptive management. And with that, Bully and I stand on our testimony for Kuaʻaina Ulu Aumo. Mahalo.
Okay, mahalo, Kevin and Bully. Next up, we have Bert Weeks.
Hello, David. Can you hear me?
Yep. Hello, Bert.
Great. My name is Bert Weeks. I'm from Waiau, Oahu. I'm a marine biologist, diver, and fisher, and I support these rules. As a scientist, I support these rules because they're based on many years of scientific data, analysis, and modeling, and have created rules that really make sense from a fisheries management perspective. But more importantly, I support these rules because they're based on generations of place-based knowledge in ʻike kupuna. These rules are created by a community of people who have kuleana and know this area. They serve as a model of how community leaders can malama the resources, even in the current government and resource management system that we have today. If more communities were like Kaʻūpūlehu, our oceans would be a much better place. I'll let the words of the community members representing the place speak for themselves, but know that there are people throughout the Pae'aina, such as myself, who support them and look towards their leadership. And with that, I'll yield my remaining 2 minutes to any remaining Kaʻūpūlehu community members who need additional time on their testimony. Thank you.
Okay, mahalo, Bert. Next on the list, Paul Kahale Minor, not present. Umi Cabrera Zook, not present. Mariah Ben Joseph.
Hi, yes, aloha. My name is Mariah Ben Joseph, and I am living in Honau now. Sorry, I would rather not be on video at this time. Live in Honau now. We're a farmer. I'm a farmer up here with my husband. We've been farming here since the 70s, and understanding how the generation before us took care of our lands here helps us to better take care of our land in the present moment so that we can pass it on to the future. I support the rules put forth by the kupuna of this space, especially since they have been taking care of this place for generations and understand deeply what is needed and how to do it. I thank DAR for giving us the opportunity to demonstrate this so that this can be a beacon for the rest of us, for it gives us hope in understanding that there is a way in our current modern society to be able to really think about these things deeply and how we're going to move forward in taking care of our aina here. So I strongly support this, and I yield my time to any other folks that would like to speak about this issue. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Next, we have Serena Harris, not present. Paul Kamoku. Aloha, Paul. Do you want to provide testimony? Okay, we'll move on for now. Jordan Lerma, not present. Jana Young, not present. Makanui Kitahara.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha mai kako. I'm Makanui Kitahara. I'm a mamo of Ke Kahawaiole nā kona, just a little hema of Kaʻūpūlehu and Kūkio, and I'm just here to say that I am in strong support of this real package, primarily because it was created, it's been managed, these lands and this aina and this moana has been tended to by the mamo, the kupu of this aina. You know, not only are the kupuna involved, but the mamo, the children, the pua of this aina is involved. You know, I'm not over the top thrilled about the whole permitting thing, but I understand the complexities that are involved with managing, protecting, just, spaces in Aina that are so dear and precious to our hearts. And as a lineal descendant of Ke Kahawaiʻole Kona, I just want to support my ohana to the north, to the akau, and totally appreciate all that you guys have done. And yeah, I just am in strong support of this, and mahalo to Hui Kahuvai and all of the ohana of Kaʻūpūlehu for just being an example for some of us who are just getting warmed up in this. So mahalo nui, Dar, also for the opportunity to testify, and to all of you up there. Mahalo nui.
Okay, mahalo. And we have Kehao Springer.
Aloha, aloha mākou. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify. My name is Kehao Springer, Kanako EV practitioner and researcher residing in Kea'au, Moku Keawe, and I stand in strong support of the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management establishment of their roles and management plan. Over the past 20 years, I worked alongside coastal communities across Hawai'i, including Kaʻūpūlehu. I've seen the decline in our nearshore resources, but for me, more importantly, I've seen the strength of communities that come together to malama them. And so the lineal descendants of Kaʻūpūlehu, Ke Kahawaiʻole, and Hui Kahuvai carry that kuleana forward through generational knowledge and their practices. And as you've heard from the previous testimonies, this effort has been decades in the making. The community has worked so much with the state, engaged thousands of people, and built this management plan that is grounded in live fishing knowledge and long-term monitoring. That includes extensive community and OEV-led research, including, they've said it, creel surveys, scuba assessments, nearshore, intertidal, to name a few. And that just demonstrates the increase of their fish biomass through the Tri-Weight initiative. So this is what effective management looks like, things that is grounded in place-based community and OEV-led, led by and rooted in Ike Kupuna. So I urge the board to adopt these roles in recognition of all of their sacrifices this community has made over the decade, and so that generational practices can continue and responsibly resume under co-management and adaptive framework. And I'll keep my testimony short to allow others to testify, and mahalo for the opportunity. Aloha.
Okay, mahalo. I want to circle back. We have a few people on the Zoom who did not give their testimony. So Eddie Kelly, do you want to provide testimony? Kapiolani Naipo Binkowski. Nope. Okay. Alex Min.
Hey, David, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, Alex.
Hey, I just want to thank you and the DAR for the hard work and the opportunity to give testimony tonight on the Kaʻūpūlehu Fisheries Management Area. I want to start with acknowledging that the state has this authority and the responsibility to manage our resources. And I thank you and everyone else there for the hard, tireless work, often underfunded, and just really the momentous task before you. So just my testimony, what I wanted to provide were a few points. I do think the fisheries management area, that there is some restrictive pieces to that I don't think are a great idea and are going to hurt and impact the community in ways that need to be thought through a little deeper and a little longer with more and broader community members, including more fishers. So I do give a lot of credit to the nonprofit that spent the time and decades of managing and taking this place into consideration, and what they've done is incredible. But I do want to not start this new chapter with creating more barriers for community members to access the resource. So I would start with, I think the permit system is extremely restrictive. I think that's going to be a big issue for Kapuna and community members who just want to access fish. And I don't think this is the right place to try something new like that in the state. Second, I think the gear restrictions with the Kaimalu management area adjacent to the luxury hotel Kona Village significantly limit people and should be reconsidered, and raises equity concerns why this bay is being protected in that way when there's luxury tourism going on where it costs $1,000 a night, and that fishers are going to be kept out of that or have to use a bamboo pole. So I think that's an equity and fairness concern that raises some concerns. So I think finally, I just want to say, I think Kaʻūpūlehu is a good place to try these things, but I would ask that the state consider what its current management regulations are across the state. I think 12 inches and some of the regulations aren't very considerate of size and species and maturity, and I think that's just an arbitrary number. So I don't think that's very respectful to the fish and to the resource. So I think that should be considered. And kind of to end my testimony, there's significant resources and funding supporting these initiatives and the proposal from external organizations outside of DAR, as well as organizations with specific agendas. And I really think that should be considered. And I know while these partnerships can be very valuable, it's critical that DAR and agencies as decision makers remain grounded in the voices and need to hear from all community members. So thank you for my time. I appreciate it. And thank you for the hard work by everyone involved in this fisheries management plan and by the state to schedule these meetings.
Hey, mahalo, Alex. And Mike Nakachi.
Aloha, David. Just to start off, again, my name's Mike Nakachi. I'm coming to you from the Ahupua'a here at Waikoloa. And two of the previous testifiers, both of my children were raised here in the lands of Ke Kahawaiʻole. And I'm very grateful for this opportunity. First and foremost, I come before everyone here for aloha aina, and especially aloha aina for all the lineal descendants and the people that have mo'oku auhau to the lands and waters of Kaʻūpūlehu from Kalaimano to Kikawa. Number two, every single one of these people that have spoken here have come on another traditional customary practice to malama this aina. Number three, we have restored one version of aina mamona. But I have some legitimate concerns. As for our previous testimony on the permit, a permit is needed because I, as a former fisherman, still fish, went into Kaʻūpūlehu and took a lot of he'e in my day. And I didn't ask permission. So the permit, in one way, shape, or form, is a permission of asking that permission of place to go and allow a take. Number two, regarding the Kaimalu area, for a lot of these people who may not be from place, do not understand that that area is Waiokane, and it is a sacred place that needs to be respected in the utmost ways, and has mo'olelo and mo'oku auhau through many ways and ancestral pathways underwater, through where that spring flows past Kalaimano and on to the lands beyond and the waters beyond. But just remember, Act 306 mandated a no-take zone. Uncle Francis Ruddle was the first to try. Kaʻūpūlehu stepped up. As for the permit was also a clear black and white item for doe care that was part of this process throughout the entire KMLAC. But I just want you to contemplate one thing. This plan has been altered. It's gone through 4 iterations. And I, like many, believe that this plan may be flawed. Let's just look at this for one moment. Again, we have not dealt with the slot limits. We have not dealt with seasonal closures when things are momona. But let's just look at this from a fisher perspective as one person. That one person can go into Kaʻūpūlehu, take 15 vana one day. They can take 15 a'ama crabs. Then that same person can take 20 ūpūlehu, 20 akule, 20 oama, 2 he'e, which has gone up 100% from the original plan of 1, 2 lobsters that's gone up 100% over the original plan, and 10 fish. That makes 85 fish for one person one day. Okay, let's just think for a moment. That's 2,550 fish for one person 1 month. You multiply that by a year, that's 30,000 fish annually for one person in that ahupua'a. Multiply that by 300 ma'a fishermen, that's 9 million fish taken. And we're not even talking about opihi. We're not even talking about vana. We're not even talking about haukiuki. We're not talking about a lot of other things. So I come back to the mo'olelo from Auntie Lei. She would walk in with 1 5-gallon bucket. What we're talking about here is a 162-quart cooler getting food and leaving the ahupua'a. How is that fair to aloha aina, to malama this aina, and restore aina mamona? You're going to be dealing with another Waikiki here, and I feel that the plan is not in a precautionary approach and in the best interest of aina and the lineal descendants of place. So that is a very legitimate concern that I have. And the reason why we are here is because in the last 16 months, people had strong feelings. They were looking at Google Scholar. And again, forgetting lineal descendants and Ike Hawaiʻi and people of place that are the stewards and the true konoiki of place. And the only reason that we are here now is because of the failure of the konoiki that DAR has represented. So in order to be collaborative, a lot of us have chosen not to engage because our aina is not up for negotiation. And this is a problematic issue that will probably happen because the fish are so ma'a and so tame right now that I think we're not acting in the best interest of a place that most of the previous testifiers dearly love and we call home, and we're going to have to clean up the mess another time. So I hope that the adaptive management was more restrictive, and we should have thought of the resources first, done a precautionary approach, and then done adaptive manage if it was really mamona with 75% thresholds that could have been had. But a lot of these things were not thoughtfully crafted because you thought of it as a negotiation. So that's my concern. Those are my thoughts. That is my mana'o. And again, for all of those skeptics that are out there, we are people that are of place, that know our resources, and care for our resources very much and don't want to see this process fail. So I'm in support, strong support of Hui Kahuvai. I'm in strong support of all the lineal descendants, but I may be a little skeptical as for the amount of fish and the amount of take, because it is not going back to what Auntie Lei said. You're not filling up 1 5-gallon bucket anymore. You're filling up a 162-quart cooler. Mahalo for your time. Sorry to go overboard. Thank you.
Okay, mahalo. And one more, Jonathan Scheuer.
Aloha mai kako. Aloha David.
Aloha.
My name is Jonathan Likeke Scheuer, and I have been had the honor of working with Hui Kahuvai for the last 2 years, brought in specifically to help them navigate through this process. I want to thank you, David, and all the DAR staff, not just for your work this evening, but for the work leading up to this and for the complex and difficult role that you play. I understand, and I've worked with once for and with DLNR employees for 3 decades, and I realize that you often feel caught between so many forces. And so actually my testimony is really offered to you as helping you identify 2 ways in which you have strong legal grounding to take action. I want to talk about the kapa'akai analysis that's required and the precautionary principle. As you know, as part of this effort, DAR is required as part of the rule package to do a kapa'akai analysis. I think this effort or this rulemaking process is in some ways one of the most unusual, if not truly unique, rulemaking that has gone on that is subject to kapa'akai ʻokaʻaina analysis, because the rule package as originally proposed by this community is the kapa'akai ʻokaʻaina analysis. It is a description of what the valued natural and cultural resources were in this area and the practices associated with them, what might happen if fishing reopens, and what specifically was asked for to protect those resources and practices if fishing resumes. And so I think really your analysis is limited to looking at the changes to the community's original proposal and what finally goes before the board to talk about how that might be lessening the mitigations available. But you really have the work done for you in many ways. The second thing I want to talk about is the precautionary principle, what it is, why it applies here, and how it should apply. The precautionary principle first came up in Hawaiʻi law in the Waiahole case, but applies to all public trust resources. And the Hawaii Supreme Court said, where scientific evidence is preliminary and not yet conclusive regarding the management of a resource, part of the public trust, they talked specifically about water, it is prudent to adopt precautionary principles in protecting the resource. That is, where there are present or potential threats of serious damage, lack of full scientific certainty should not be a basis for postponing effective measures to prevent environmental degradation. In addition, where uncertainty exists, a trustee's duty is to protect the resource mitigates in favor of choosing presumptions that also protect the resource. That's what the precautionary principle is. It applies here because DAR and DLNR ultimately, when they act on these rules, is acting as the trustee over these public trust resources. And how it should apply here is that to the degree that we've heard testimony before the Board of Land and Natural Resources, and even some recently late in this meeting tonight that say, oh, you know what, this is too restrictive, we should be allowed to take more fish, and even claims that there's scientific bases for, say, not having size limits on ulua or gear limits. The duty of DAR, and you can just rest confidently in this, is to say, to the degree that there's any scientific uncertainty on this, the precautionary principle, your legal guide, requires you to take the actions that are most likely to protect the resource. So people are willing to come up or have the opportunity to come up and try and prove scientifically that other more open fishing rules should apply. But if they can't, the duty is to look back at those gear restrictions, the size limits, and the bag limits, and take the actions that will most protect the resource. And again, this is offered really with aloha for the work and the challenges that you guys do and the people you have to face, because these are time-tested legal principles that have been upheld by Hawaii's highest courts and will put you in good stead as you help lead us in this effort going forward. Mahalo nui to you and to all of the people who've testified. I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you. Aloha.
Hey, mahalo. And that brings us to the end of our list of people who've signed up to testify. Is there anyone on the Zoom meeting that has not had a chance to provide testimony that would like to add testimony? Okay. And I didn't cut anybody off earlier. And I don't want to extend this meeting too long, but I'm gonna just ask once, is there anyone that has provided testimony tonight that would like to add a little bit more testimony? You can throw your hand up in the Zoom. Okay, I am not seeing any. Um, One
Mahalo.
moment. I'm gonna share my screen again. One moment. Okay. So we will be accepting written testimony until Sunday, April 19th, 2026. Please email testimonies to dar.testimony@hawaii.gov. Testimonies may also be mailed to the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources, 1151 Punch Bowl Street, room 330, Honolulu, Hawaii 96813. And the email and the mailing address are on this slide. And for your information, I will now go over the next steps in the rulemaking process following the public hearings. So this is the projected timeline for these rules after these public hearings. The dates are estimates, assuming that no significant changes to the proposal need to be made based on the testimony received. Based on the testimonies presented, the department will submit its findings and recommendations to the Board of Land and Natural Resources. If approved by the board, the Department of the Attorney General will conduct a final legal review. Then the proposed rules will be given to the governor for his final approval. Should the governor grant approval, the approved rules will be filed with the Lieutenant Governor's office, and either after 10 days or at a specified date more than 10 days out, the rules will become effective as law. Are there any questions regarding this process? Okay, well, on behalf of the Department of Land and Natural Resources and the Division of Aquatic Resources, thank you for attending this public hearing. It is now 7:39 p.m. and this public hearing is now adjourned. Mahalo for taking time out from your day to participate in this virtual public hearing. Aloha.
Mahalo, aloha.
Mahalo, Dar. See you tomorrow.
Aloha no.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Mahalo.